And now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And starting with, I thought today for perspective, we could look at something like this. That's a fairly simple landscape. And even though, it has a horizon line that's very straight, we have this nice path that comes from the bottom and go towards the horizon. And you can see here at the bottom, it's very wide. It's almost half the page. And at where it meets the horizon back here, it's very, very skinny. And it's the same for these rocks. So these rocks and the little, there's like a little wall here that's between the rocks and the path. So if you take the width of this is quite wide compared to how skinny it gets towards the end there. And see those trees here? Right here on the right-hand side, these trees that are behind the big one, they also go from tall to less tall and less tall. There's kind of an angle to them as well. So this is probably the picture that we're going to choose to draw from. But before we do, I thought I would show you a few things that I prepared in this little presentation. So can you see the screen here that says class concepts of perspective? So yes, thumb up. Okay, so I'm gonna say yes. And Pam, I'm gonna mute you. All right, so this is the photo that I was showing you. I'm trying to do this so that you can see better. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to adjust.
You go to slideshow. If you go to slideshow, across the top there, right?
There we go. Oops, slideshow. Okay, that's not working. Okay. All right. So we're going to stay here because the slideshow is not working right now. But I'm going to go like this. Okay. So this is perspective with one vanishing point. The horizon line, which is the eye level of the viewer, the person who took the photo, is approximately where the water meets those background mountains right here. And so therefore, the vanishing point will be on that line. The vanishing point is always on the horizon line. And because those lines here of the path, they converge towards the back here, all towards a point like this. That's where the vanishing point would be, like right here. Even if you look at these trees here, the top part, it points towards here. And so what I did on the next slide is I put all these lines to help you understand where is the horizon line. So the horizon line, like I said, it's where the water meets those faraway mountain. And that's where the vanishing point is on this line. And the reason the vanishing point is right where I put it is because all of the lines, they all converge towards that point. So the line of the path on either side, you can see, and then those rocks, they all point to here, even those trees here. And if I wanted to put another line to do the top of those trees, then, it would also point towards here. See the top of these trees here in the back. So now the concepts are the vanishing point is always on the horizon line, and the horizon line is at the viewer's eye level, and everything converged to the vanishing point. In this case, there's just one vanishing point. I tried to select something that made it simple. And then this big tree here is just doesn't respond to any of the converging lines at all. So is there any question on this? Okay, so I have a few more pictures to show you that have interesting angles. So this is a small little street that I saw in Paris when I was in France. And I thought it was very interesting because see, it says Chez Claire. You can't really see it very well, but if I make it, no, Chez Marie. So it says Chez Marie, it's a restaurant, and there was this gallery. And I thought these two little front store, they were very interesting because they were very colorful and they had nice angle. See how the bottom, the sidewalk, it points upward, whereas the top of the wall here, it points downward. So eventually they meet somewhere off this frame. So in this case, the vanishing point would be outside the frame of what we are looking at. And it would be somewhere here in the white space. And all the lines would be pointing there, towards there. So the sidewalk would point towards the vanishing point, the bottom of the wall here, and then the top of the wall, and so on and so forth. So on the next slide, I put that there. A little too big. Ah, now we can see. Okay, so you can tell here the vanishing point is right here because the top of these two little walls here where the door is points there, the top of the wall, the top of where the windows are, and the door, and then the sidewalk as well. So the vanishing point could be outside the frame, although it's the same concepts as before. Do you have a question, Susan?
Yeah, I do. How would you determine how many lines? You know, you've got 5 red lines there. I mean, how do you, or you just do it and work with it? You know,
Okay.
you've got 5. How'd you choose 5?
I tried to choose an amount that was not too overwhelming, but basically everything points to the vanishing point. So I could have put like 10 more. For example, see this line here where you have like below those windows, you have this little rectangle in the red in the red building. Well, this here points towards the vanishing point, and so does this. So I could have put like 2 more here, for example, but I didn't want to put too many because then it gets confusing. So this here is red, so can't really see, would also point towards the vanishing point. Oops, having a hard time. See this one here, and then the top one as well. And so there could be endless number of lines. Basically everywhere where if you were looking at the building, if you were facing the building, it would be completely horizontal. When you're looking at the building sideways, which is what we're looking at right here, all of those horizontal lines tend to then point towards the vanishing point. So the bottom of the window, the bottom of the door, the top of the door, the top of the window, those upper windows up here, everything should point towards the vanishing point. So in this case, I showed a few. I was trying not to get too many so that it wouldn't get all confusing. But basically, all of those lines that should be horizontal, that have a certain angle, to determine the angle, you just point them to the vanishing point. Okay, so I have another one to show you. So see these 2 little stores? They're on this big street where there was all these buildings. And in this case, the viewer's eyes was slightly different. So the horizon line is where the top of the street right here is, because the photo was taken from further away. So therefore, the vanishing point is not like right here. It's like right there at the very end of that street. And so therefore, the angles are like so. So the horizon line's right here. And see, in this case, I indicated the vanishing point, or the line that point towards the vanishing point with the sidewalk. There's also this other sidewalk on the other side of the street. There's the upper part of this wall here. The other buildings as well, they also point towards the vanishing point, and even the building on the other side also point. See the top of the buildings? It's almost a vertical line towards the vanishing point. So I thought I'd show you different ways to, to appreciate this concept. I mean, this is a lot more complicated. So that's why I don't want us to, go into this kind of subject matter for our drawing. We'll just do the simple one. But I also want to show you one more, which is l'Arc de Triomphe. This is right in Paris as well. In this case, you can tell if you look at the roof, the top, one goes this way and the other one goes this way. And it's the same for, for, let's say, it in the middle of the Arc de Triomphe. It goes either way. So there are two vanishing points in this case. So we have the horizon line, which is at the bottom where it's rather flat. And then we have vanishing point A and vanishing point B. So I'll put yellow and red just to differentiate the two. So in this case, one wall, the one on the left, points towards vanishing point A, and everything in this wall, the lines that should be horizontal, if we were completely facing the wall, have an angle, and that's how you determine the angle. And the part of the wall that's on the right-hand side point towards vanishing point B. And is there any question on this one where there are two vanishing points? So if we were to do a house, for example, they would have two vanishing points. One side of the wall would point to a vanishing point towards the right, and the other side would point towards a vanishing point towards the left. All right. So now we are going to use this photo as our subject matter for today, and we are going to do a drawing of this using the concept of the vanishing point. So I'm going to stop the share. All right, so this is a 9x12 book, and I'm putting it on the side, so it's going to be wider than it's high, because that's the format of the subject matter that we're looking at. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, if you have a ruler, that could help, because we're going to do angles. Usually I never use a ruler when I draw, but for this class, because we are doing all these angles and we're trying to point towards the vanishing point, you can use the ruler, and I'm going to use it to demonstrate as well. All right, so first things first is we're going to put the horizon line. The horizon line, in the case of our subject matter, is going to be below the middle. So if I were to eyeball my book, the middle is about here, and even lower than this, actually. So the middle is about here, and my horizon line would be about 1/3 up. So you can measure it if you want. Let's say if I measure it, oops, like this. If I measure it, then I would put it at approximately 4 inches. But if you don't measure it, then approximately 1/3 up. So about here. So you have to draw the line completely horizontal, so you can measure it on either side. So 4 inches, and draw your line. That will be your horizon line.
There, I have a question.
Yes,
The horizon line, you're going on, that paper is 9 by 12,
yes.
so it's 12 wide and 4 across, horizontal. So that's a
It's,
little, right? Wouldn't 4.5 be exactly the middle of a 9-inch?
oh, you're right. Oh, you are so right.
Okay.
So 9 inch, it would be 3 inches. Oh my God.
Okay.
So let's do 3.5. So a little higher than the 1/3. You are correct, Susan. Wow. Very observant student. Oh my God, I start with a mistake. What are you guys gonna think about me?
You're human.
That's
Okay.
exactly what another student said. Finally, we know you're human, Claire.
I was checking my math skills, Claire. It wasn't intended to call you out.
No, that was very good question. So, rewind. Now we are going to put that 1/3 up. So we're going to put it at 3 inches, or you can put a little higher than 3. I'll put 3.25. Oh my God, wow. I think I need one more coffee with Bob Ross. All right, so now we have our horizon line made with a ruler, exceptionally, because usually we never use a ruler to do drawings. So that was our first step. Now, we're also going to indicate our vanishing point. Now, where is the vanishing point? Is it higher or lower than the horizon line?
On the horizon.
Yes, it is. It is on the horizon line, because the horizon line is, if you had someone standing and looking at the picture, you can imagine that this person's eyes are right on the horizon line. So see, this is what determines where the horizon line is where the person's eyes, at what level they're at in the frame, looking at the picture. So the vanishing point is also always at the same level as the horizon line, and somewhere, here. Now, I am looking at the photo. You guys don't see the photo. We're going to put the vanishing point about 4 inches from the right. Usually you would 4 inches, so that's like 1/3. So to indicate my vanishing point, I'm going to put a big X. And it's not a bad idea to say, okay, so that this is my horizon line. And then this here is a vanishing point. Oops. So far, I mean, you don't have to put the little person there, but so far we have the horizon line and we have the vanishing point. All right. So now we're going to define where our path is. The path, as I'm looking at our photo, goes from the right-hand corner to the vanishing point. So basically what you want to do is you want to do a line that goes from the very tip of the corner right here to here. So I'm going to put my book sideways just because, actually it's upside down, just because it's easier for me. So you want to do a line like this. There. So it goes from the corner to the vanishing point. And so now this path that goes from very wide to very skinny where the vanishing point is, the other line of our path is it almost starts in the middle of the bottom of the book. But in our case, we're going to put this at about 5 inches. So 5 inches from the side of the book. I'm going to go like this. So right here, 5 inches, and I'm going to go from here to the vanishing point. And the other thing that also points towards the vanishing point is the line of rocks that I see there. And the rocks it's the rocks and the little wall that here, it's almost as wide as our path. So it is actually as wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the other line pointing to the vanishing point, allowing for this rock wall to be here. Excuse me. And we're going to make this another 5 inches. From here, we're going to measure 5 inches out. So to here. And from this mark, we're going to do a line to the vanishing point. Important that this be completely straight, these lines. Now, it doesn't look like much, but we're getting there. So we're just going through the technical part of this drawing. I'm just showing you how I would start it. So now that I have this is my path, and right here on the left side of the path, there's like a little rock wall. I mean, so there are rocks here, but there's also like a cement wall here. And this cement wall has a certain width at the bottom. And this width at the bottom, we're going to say it's approximately 1.5 inches. So from this line, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches and put another line to our vanishing point. So this is my cement wall. This is my path. I mean, I'm just writing here, but you don't have to write on your own. This is the rocks. So this is what we have so far. All right, so now knowing that the light comes from this way, and so therefore this cement wall here casts a shadow on my path. The shadow will also have the same concept of the vanishing point. And the shadow is about 1 inch this way. So I'm going to measure from this line 1 inch this way. This will go towards the vanishing point as well. And I'm going to put here shadow. All right. Now that we have, you know, most of all of these areas here, we're going to indicate now the faraway mountains. But before we do, I'm going to show you the photo one more time. Can you see the photo?
Yep.
Just going to make it a little bigger. Right. So we have our path. The path goes from the corner towards the vanishing point. Then we have this cement wall here that has a certain width, and then it's shadow to the right of it. And then to the left of the cement wall, we have the rocks. And the horizon line is right here where the water meets the mountains. So now we're going to indicate the faraway mountains and the one that is mid-plan, like this other grouping of trees here. And then we're also going to indicate the top of those trees here that are here. All right. So I'm going to stop this share and continue with the drawing. Excuse me. All right. I wish there was a way for you guys to see the, you know, the photo at the same time as the drawing, but we'll try and do that, you know, a little later during the class today. All right. So now we have the different parts. So this is the water. I should put that water. I mean, you don't have to put those words because it's gonna look weird when you do all the shading. So this is our water. This is our rocks. This is the cement wall. That's the shadow of the cement wall. The path. And here we have the grass actually. So I'll put that here. So this is the grass. Now we're going to indicate the faraway mountains. And the faraway mountains should be done without a ruler because they are not straight, but they are very small mountains. And so if I look at, you know, the very far away mountains, it's a mountain it's about 1 inch high, about yay high, and it goes from here towards the middle. So the middle of my book's about here. Basically, it goes from here, and it goes straight, and then down a little bit, and then it disappears behind the other one. So this is my faraway mountain. I did this line very dark just to make sure that you guys can see it. But this mountain is not going to be super dark just because it's so far away in the background. Now, why is it that a mountain that appears in the background appears gray, bluish, or purple sometimes? And that's because the mountain appears to us through all of this air and the atmosphere, and there is pollution and there is droplets, maybe there is some clouds, and all of that makes it that it makes the mountain looks more bluish and more purplish and lighter in color because of all these things that are between the viewer's eyes and the actual mountain. So once we have done this, then we're going to add the other mountain it's like a grouping of trees that's a little further, little closer to the viewer's eyes. And this will be, so if you want to measure, you can measure, it's about 4 inches from the side of the book. I'm not going to measure, I'm going to eyeball it and say, well, it's about from here. And this grouping of trees, it starts with a straight line like this, and then it goes up, but at a very, very low angle. It just goes like this. So this one disappears behind it, and this one's like this. And then what happens is once past the vanishing point, then there's more trees and they go up like this. Yeah. So it looks a little funny, but that's how it is. All right. So now that we have all of the objects, we're only missing the big tree, basically, is what we're missing. And also we're missing a little, there's a little street right here. So the street, that's a little tricky. The street that is right here, very close to the horizon line, it goes from the vanishing point to here, and it's only like 1/4 inch below the horizon line. So measure 1/4 inch from here to the vanishing point. So that will be our street. Just because it's almost parallel to it. So 1/4 inch, and I'm going to the vanishing point with the street. Just like that, very, very, very skinny. See, this is straight. With that straight. All right. So this is the sky. Faraway mountain. And then the mid-ground trees. All right, so now we have everything except the big tree. Excuse me. Is there any questions about this part of the drawing? No, okay, all right. So I'm going to show you the drawing again. So this is our landscape. So we have our faraway mountain. You see it here on the left. And then the grouping of trees that start about 1/4, so about 4 inches from the side of the paper to the left, and goes, it's a slow slope. And then behind this big tree here, it goes up somewhere. We're going to ignore this tree here. And now we're going to put this big tree. So see where the road is? The road is very skinny. That's why we made it just 1/4 inch. We're going to ignore the sidewalk. So I want us to make this, to simplify this so we can actually finish it today. But I wanted to show you the photo so you can see where the big tree is. So we don't have to make this tree with so many branches, of course. But this big tree here is on the grass. So when we draw it, it has to be on the grass. You know, so make sure you don't put it on the path. And if it's on the grass, that means it's below, the base of the tree will be below the horizon line. And so therefore, it's pretty wide, actually. If you look at the base of the tree, you don't have to put the garbage can, by the way. The base of the tree is about as wide as the shadow here. So you can make it a 1-inch base of the tree. Everything, you know, everything in a picture compares to something else. So in this case, we're going to make the base of the tree about 1 inch wide. It's actually 2 trees, but we're just going to make it 1. And we're going to draw this. Now, one thing I want to bring your attention to is that this tree, to make it look like it's big and it's in the foreground, the branches on the right-hand side and also at the top go out the frame. So when you draw this tree, make sure that the top branches and the side branches on the right go outside the frame, whereas the ones on the left will go here in the sky. All right. So let's draw this tree. And I'm not going to show you how to draw a tree. I'm just going to continue sharing my screen so that you can take the time to draw your tree. I'm going to stop the recording, pause it. So yeah, so this is what I've done.
Claire, when you say you didn't finish your tree, are you going to put more branches on, or just
Yes.
you're talking about shading? You're still going to put more branches on?
Yeah. Well, compared to the tree that we see on the photo,
Yeah,
this tree is a little anemic, I find.
It is.
Yes. But the rocks are pretty much done, and you can see the rocks, they have more definition towards the front and then a lot less towards the back.
And what did you do? You took out the road altogether, or the sidewalk, whatever that thing is?
Yeah, it's actually, it got lost. You're right. It got lost.
That's what I meant.
I'd have to redefine it. I could use the kneaded eraser to go.
Claire,
You could just leave it out. Yeah.
Claire, on the right, it looks like that could be a mountain.
Yeah, it's almost like a mountain.
Yeah.
So now we can see the little pathway, the little street.
Yeah, the little walkway over there or something.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if it's important in my drawing, but
It's
I
not.
mean, there's a lot more detail in the photo, but I try to make it simple so we can do this within the time allotted for the class.